players. We have to the bottom right hand side of the map our blue Terran player. It is going to be from Team Liquid. It is uThermal. And to the top right hand side is going to be our red Zerg player from Root Gaming. It's going to be Cham, OSC Roots Cham. Sorry, I got got confused there. I thought I was about to introduce uThermal again. As we set up here onto Frost. Once again, vertical spawn. Same spawns, in fact, exact same spawns as what we had between Solo and uThermal earlier. That was a game, very interesting game to see how it kind of played out. You know, it was a very interesting game to see how it kind of played out. So, interested to see how uThermal Cham goes here. Because uThermal really did trade so well in the early stages against Solo. He played really, really well in the super early stages and getting set up and so on. And then he just Solo did what he needed to do to play such an inefficient game, you know? Solo turned it around and kept on trading with run buys and slowing down the economy. And in that situation, when he hasn't taken good fights, it was exactly what he needed to do, and he made it happen. Maybe uThermal just being a bit too aggressive in certain locations instead of defending the base, and I don't know why he was obsessed with taking, he kept taking this base over here. I mean, even taking this base down here is easier to defend because it isn't as far forwards. And in a way, I can understand he's like, oh, well, I want to be forwards and attacking these bases anyways, but still, I mean, it's still, you're attacking up here, it's still hard for for Solo to get down into this direction, so yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a debatable kind of thing as to how you can do it. As we'll be seeing this overall, just going to be pulling around the top side from Cham. So it's going to be looking to get in position and kind of scout in a little bit later on, perhaps. Early opening here, just link speed start and a few Zerglings on the way with a couple of queens. Nothing really too extraordinary at this point, just very standard stuff in the early stages. So a few things are going to be joined up, going in towards the natural expansion. You see a factory is starting to build from uThermal. A second Rax is going to be finishing in a few moments as well. 2-1-1 build order out of our Terran player. Pretty much the exact same as what he did against Solo on this map as well. So very standard startup here for him. It's a good map to do this on because this is a map where you see a lot of the time you really want to slow down the Zerg, and this build allows you to slow down the Zerg because you apply pressure early and you continually apply pressure as the game continues. So it's nice. I do like it. I think it's probably one of the better maps to do this build on nowadays, especially with all the transitions you can do as well. It's a good map to bring this build out on. As we do see some maps, I mean, what else do you do on this map to be super effective? Well, you can go 3C super greedy, but I don't really think that's super viable. I think it's very punishable if scouted. But, I mean, what else can you really do? I mean, you think about a Hellbat timing on this map, it sort of works, but it's sort of very, it's one of those sort of positions where you just have, like, a, sorry, I'm getting myself caught on my own words, but it's one of those maps where a Hellbat attack can take a long time to hit. Whereas this build was very reliable in all locations, and I think a Hellbat attack is very hit and miss as well anyways. This build is very reliable no matter what, so I'll stop talking nonsense. I'm really not getting my point across, so there's there comes a time where if you still can't get your point across, you should just probably stop and just realize it's not meant to be, you know? A few Zerglings going to join up towards the top side here. Another couple of Zerglings coming down from Cham. Continuing to look around and to see what else is going to be going on. And we've seen there's a couple of Evo chambers coming up at the front of the natural. So a couple of Evos at the front of the natural. We'll see a couple of engineering bases from uThermal starting up as well in the natural expansion. And we're just going to be seeing a group of Marines continue to join together in the main base. So Marines still joined up together in the main base. These couple of medevacs will load on up, and across the map they go. So uThermal heads towards the upper right hand side to look to see what exactly is going to be going on, to look to see what will be happening as these medevacs head up towards the northern side here. So I mean, just going to start unloading. Cham is fairly well prepared for this. He's got a few Zerglings apps more on the way, and the Queens just need to start joining up together to make sure he has that anti-air. Actually, that's the problem for him right now. The third base is unconnected, so one Queen is out of position. Only two Queens at the front, and a few Lings going down as well. Ooh, this is going to be interesting, especially if he attacks into the third base where the Queens are kind of disconnected due to the creep. This could be really nice, because without the Queens sort of attacking the medevacs, the Marines take so much more healing from the medevacs, because the medevacs don't have to kite away, and they can trade much more easily. So uThermal already putting on some good pressure here. And they pull away over to the left-hand side as just going to be seeing the drones just mining away on the third base again. And still just seeing some Zerglings gathering together towards the third. We're going to see a scan coming down. We're going to see a creep tumor or two going to be picked away at as well. So a couple of creep tumors falling here. Just pulling back as we'll see the Marines loading up into a couple of medevacs. And backing away. Really good trades from uThermal. Did he lose anything? Just his early Reapers. So it's 18 Lings killed. Efficiency is already the word that's coming into the forefront of my mind because we talked about it a lot against Solar, and it's the exact same so far in this opening here. The efficiency of uThermal's trades is really, really good, and Cham has so many Zerglings now as well. His economy is in shatters already. I mean, 41 drones to 45 SCVs. It doesn't sound like a lot, but then you consider double Mule, soon to be triple Mule. I mean, yes, uThermal is mining a lot more than Cham, so already looking pretty great for uThermal here in the early stages. These Lings going to be pulling back towards the third base. A few Queens pulling back in towards the position in between the natural and the third as well. You're going to see a couple of medevacs going to be moving out and going in towards the upper right hand side and just joining up with this. And when you've traded so well initially as 1-1 finishes too, and the upgrades become even, this next trade can be so dangerous for Cham to fight against. I mean, he still really only has Lings and only 4 Queens too. There's 4 medevacs here. There's towards, what, like, about 30-ish Marines? I mean, there's not quite. There's going to be 24 plus 4. There's 28, but that's such a high number. Means out so much creep to begin with, goes straight up the ramp and goes to the natural. He's in a position now where the Lings can't engage. The Lings cannot get through here. You can see that they can't get through here. There's no way they can get us around. And that just means the Lings can't really fight. They try to fight because he knows he sort of has to. But he's just going to take so much damage. Roach started to come out now. The Marines will sort of step towards the Queens. And the Queens got rid of one of the medevacs, but 3 of them still standing. Such a good trade from uThermal. Sort of steps back to the right-hand side. Just engage into Roaches in as low numbers as possible. And that's exactly what he's doing such a great job of here. Great fight, great positioning to get into such a good fight. And he's just going to continue sticking around. Picks off an Evo Cham. It's not even upgrading, but I mean something Cham will have to rebuild. So it's still money down the drain at some point in the future. As a few more Lings run in, they'll get targeted down. But his units still aren't dying. I think finally as the medevacs run out of energy, we'll have to see uThermal lifting him back in a way, maybe going into a different location. He's taken his third base already, and he'll move in towards that in the very near future and start really mining from it. And so we're just going to be seeing these 2 medevacs still just dropping around, being a nuisance, trying to keep Cham slowed down at this point. And we're going to be seeing a few more Marines just unloading in at the main base. Roach is going to be moving forwards as well as the Marines stim in, but just going to lift up once again and back away through the top. I'm just going to be seeing a couple of Queens here. Will take down that Liberator. So Liberator gets taken down. And more Marines just unloading up on the high ground, and you are going to be seeing just a few more drones going down. That Queen getting low, so doesn't manage to finish off the medevac. Maybe now as the medevac has to lift up and the Marines aren't on the ground any longer. There's a few more drones going to be picked away at, and again, just a few more lava being picked. Anything that uThermal does now is fantastic, and he's just continuing to put himself in a great position, cancelling some units that we're trying to build here. The the lava getting killed as soon as it pops, so it can't even become any units, and Queens having to transfuse each other. These 2 Liberators will unsiege and just back away, but again, it's just more damage that uThermal's done. 4,400 to the 2,100 resources lost is looking very similar right now to what it looked like in the early stages of uThermal versus Solar earlier on. Bunker comes up behind this mineral line, and a few Marines, a couple of Liberators joining up towards the center here. Just going to be continue to see these Liberators actually heading up north. So those are going to continue heading up in this direction, and we'll be sieging up and setting up over the mineral line here very shortly as well. Just going to see this tank moving up through the center also. So just setting up here. Let's see a corrosive battle coming down. The Liberator is going to be... well, the Liberator is going to get taken down pretty swiftly, I guess. Another Liberator going down as well. And 5 drones have been picked off during that. So 5 drones picked off during that. We're going to be seeing these 3 medevacs now. Going to start heading up the right-hand side of the map. So they're going to start heading up the right-hand side and looking to see what location they might be able to drop off in. More Marines and Marauders going to be unloading here, and they're going to stim in towards this 4th base. So start stim in here and just seeing what they can do. The 4th hatchery goes down super quickly. Medevac's going to lift up Marines and Marauders once again, backing away towards the 3rd. I'm just going to be seeing another 4th hatchery starting to build up once again. So, I mean, this is the thing. Cham just has to rebuild that. He has to recommit into this, into that. And the medevacs just keep him so busy on the map, picking off another creep tumor, stopping him from getting creep to connect his 4th base. And we talked about this in the last game where uThermal has this chance to just push up the right-hand side. And, well, when he pushed up the right-hand side against Solar into this 4th, well, there was already creep in that direction. uThermal in this game don't let that creep get there. So it's going to be even more, it's going to be amplified the fact that Cham is really going to struggle to defend the location. He's not going to be able to make it happen very easily at all. As we'll be seeing a few Marines. Just lifting up and getting out of there. Another couple of medevacs coming in. 4th base under attack. uThermal's just continuing to rotate attacks around, you know. As he pops out from the natural, he pulls away. He could even, I'm surprised in a way, didn't bring these medevacs over to join in over here, but I guess because he wants to jump back into this base as Cham rotates his own army around to deal with these drops. uThermal continue to trade, and you can just see, like, 10 workers killed, Marines and Marauders, a siege tank as well. Just continue to pick away at bits and pieces here. And that's going to be GG. 23, 24, 26 workers going down. They'll just keep rising. I imagine in the future they'll probably turn sort of auto hosts off or limit it to sort of like, say, if an auto host hosts you for nothing, they'll probably stop kind of notifying you about it, you know? Probably be a good update. And Twitch has had so much good stuff in the last week or two. Auto hosts. We've had auto hosts. We've had a new channel page. So we've had auto hosts, a new channel page. Well, so and now we've got Twitch Prime. There's new transcode and stuff coming in as well. That's pretty sick. You guys see the statistics when you're watching the Twitch stream last night at TwitchCon? Apparently, overall on Twitch this year, we are averaging 821 kappas per minute. Isn't that just insane? Every minute, 821 people type kappa into Twitch chat. What on earth? That's literally ridiculous. Literally ridiculous. I don't even know what to sort of say about that. Like, 821? I mean, I guess when you think about how many StarCraft streams there are, not StarCraft streams, but how many Twitch streams there are and stuff, I mean, I guess there's a lot, and I guess a lot of them are busy and full of viewers, but I still find it pretty incredible. Guys, the bottom left-hand side, our blue turn player is Liquid uThermal. Going for the free rack sweeper here in the early stages, and to the top right from OSC Root is our Red Zerg player, Cham. By the way, guys, it is going to be, I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to make a point out of. What was I possibly thinking about? Oh, yes. So we did get the WardiTV shirts finally working. We're just waiting for them to be accepted on the Teespring. They've got to be accepted before you can sell them. So WardiTV t-shirts are going to be available this week. And they're going to be only available for 10 days because I want to try and get them finished, the campaign finished super quick so I can get them in time for BlizzCon. But we will put them back up after BlizzCon trip. So we'll have a campaign for them now, but if you can't afford them in the next 10 days or so, we'll do another campaign in the Christmas period. Buy your significant other's WardiTV t-shirts for Christmas, you know. What a perfect Christmas gift. We're all going to be seeing as these two Reapers just sort of get away here. I mean, actually the grenades are doing a lot of damage too. I think they've killed a lava and they're actually very close to actually cancelling this roach from coming out. It's kind of crazy. They actually taking some damage as well, as this was a response from Cham just straight into the roach roar, and he's not going to go link speed at all, which does make it a little bit sort of, well, it does sort of create a bit of a tougher sort of situation, I guess, from uThermal. Because uThermal's, sorry, it's going to be a bit of a, not as, it's sort of weird, 'cause in a way uThermal's like, huh, well, oh, by the way, there's only 2 rack sweeper instead of 3 rack sweeper. That's interesting. Sorry. You guys actually asked me to show you that as well. Sorry, this is me just being terrible. Yeah, it's weird because uThermal's like, well, actually this entire game's weird. Because first of all, uThermal doesn't have to deal with speedlings, but then the roaches come out faster, which make it maybe a bit harder to trade. And uThermal doesn't have as many Reapers, and he's going to transition very quickly. Already a siege tank on the way up, so very interesting setup here in the early stages with only the 2 racks instead of 3, and very quickly transition into marine production. So sorry guys that I didn't mention it was 2 rack sweeper. I really genuinely believed it was just 3 rack sweeper. I had no idea. I had absolutely no clue, not gonna lie. As you will see, those couple of Reapers from uThermal gonna hop on up in towards the main base and look to see what is going on. And we'll see one Reaper again picked away at, and another Reaper just continue to move around roaches, and a Ravager just pulling down the right hand side just to try and keep on picking away at the Reaper. 6 drones currently building up from Cham, so just setting this up, and Just going to see a Ravager and a few Roaches from Cham as well, just collecting together. As we're going to be seeing a Tankovac starting to move across the map. So some Tankovac harassment. I like it because with the Reapers, it's actually an interesting build, because think about it, the Reapers are going to deny any units from being able to work their way quickly through these rocks. And so then when the tanks come across, they can drop off here and it's very hard to fight against them. Actually plays out to be a pretty smart build. Is this what Maru did against Nurture? Because I remember watching Maru Nurture on this map, but I didn't actually see the opening stages of the game. I don't think it was this. But maybe it was, because it's sort of got a very similar feel to it with how uThermal is going to be dropping with the tanks and so on. I mean, there's lots of ways to do a similar attack. All you need is something that involves Tankovacs. The Reapers is an interesting way to just stop these rocks from taking any real damage, and that makes it so hard, because then all of a sudden, you have to sort of see these units coming out here and around, and sort of coming in from such a long distance away, and of course then, if you send so many units down here, tanks just lift up, maybe they drop over to the main base, you know, they're just going to keep on being a massive nuisance. So it's a little bit of a pain here, as we can see this Ravager taking damage, a couple creep teamers already going down. I mean, the thing is as well, the Hatchery is in range of the siege tanks, so uThermal really abusing his position in here, and just seeing what he can get done out of this right now. As we're going to be seeing that Hatchery continue to take a little bit more damage here. A couple of tanks going to unload on the high ground, and Roach is going to take a little bit of damage, going to pop down to the low ground. Ooh, nice little split from Cham, but still you can see uThermal just finds another location to kind of drop the tanks in and pick off another Roach, just kites away. And that's the continued annoyance we'll see out of uThermal in this. I mean, drops off over here, Queen goes down, this Ravager will fall if he's not careful. Stays alive, but, I mean, tanks just drop, and now they're onto the third base once again. More damage being done. Third Hatchery is dropping in health. And these Queens, well, they have to find a way to fight against this, really. Queens will be able to kind of push the Medivacs back a little bit, maybe. I don't really know. I mean, they've got to try and find a way to do something. One Queen injects that. And we've seen some Lings, Roaches, and a Ravager just going to be moving through this sort of direction. And let's see, a couple of Tankovacs going to be lifting up and moving just to the left-hand side here slightly. So a couple of Tankovacs moving around. Just a little bit more damage being done. And yeah, Zerglin's taking some more damage as well. So some good damage being done. Oh, Tankovac goes down. No, Queen sniping. How did they reach over there? That's so broken. Nah, not really. It's pretty... just uThermal being a little bit complacent with the position of his Medivac as he continues to pick away. I mean, I hate to say it again, just say the same old thing, but I mean, actually, not even actually. I was going to say efficiency, but honestly, the resources lost isn't that even, isn't that different. I guess that's the kind of cost of losing a Medivac. I mean, you lose a Medivac, that's 200 resources plus a Tankovac is like 150, 125. Like, yeah, that's a lot. That's probably made up a lot of the, or lost a lot of the efficiency out of this. Losing one of those. We're going to be seeing these drops coming in now. Coming in, loading to the side. I mean, what's in position? The Roaches and Ravagers are fairly nearby. Let's see, maybe a Queen going down initially. Stim isn't even done just yet, so uThermal can't really stick around to trade here. He loses a Medivac already, though. Another Medivac going down as well. Wow, gets so low. Stays alive, but so low. Continue to just pick away at creep tumors wherever possible. There's one more tumor over here, which you will drop and not get because the Ravagers are already nearby. And you just have to pull away once more. I mean, behind all of this, though, uThermal has set up onto 3 bases. He's got 2 upgrades already starting on up. So he's got an upgrade lead. He's got the 3rd base set up. He's got more barracks coming down. So he's been macroing behind us, and that's important to take note of. As we see Cham also, well, macroing behind us, going into his further tech tree, which is going to be that hive, and that accesses, of course. Well, he's already got Infestors on the way up, but he'll access now the Ultralisk Cavern, as well as then, you know, and that basically opens up the kind of Ultralisk Corruptor sort of play style. As the game continues, we're going to see Fuse unloading over here, trying to pick their way through a 4th base. Roach is in position. And uThermal's just going to commit, I think. I mean, he knows he's just got enough here to kind of kill it off. And it's a fairly worthwhile trade. Losing a couple of units for delaying the 4th base. Pretty worthwhile for the most part. You can see a drop over here once again. Again, just trying to pick his opponent apart. You can see that Medivac getting targeted down again. Man, the Queen targeting is really good at Cham. It's really keeping him in this in these trades. Shutting down a lot of the Medivacs means that he's able to stop the drops, stop them from doing continued damage. And that puts him into a nice little position. Another few Medivacs going out onto the map, and uThermal playing super aggressively still. Combat Shield is on the way up for him. He still hasn't got that even at this point. There's a double Tankovac will unload on the high ground. Still just damage to be done. You can see a Corrosive Bile he has to dodge away from. And the tanks, though, just so many locations they can be annoying in, and you can just see from this sort of position, yeah, they have to dodge the Biles, but you know, past the bile dodging, he's still looking good as we'll see those tanks dropping down and just a little bit more damage being done. A drone or 2 going to be picked away at. So some good damage being done right now. As another couple of Corrosive Biles doesn't lift up in time. Actually, one of the medevacs going down there does get out with a tank and a marauder, though. Actually, the trades here from Cham have been really good. It's actually been uThermal has been trading extremely badly. He's run away a lot of drops to actually not really gain too much in the game. So Cham is looking good to maybe even sort of tie up this series, because at this point, uThermal doesn't really have a lot going for him. Ultra's Cavern is up, and so the Ultras are on the way. And uThermal, the way he's been playing sort of never let his opponent get to Ultras. He hasn't started any Liberators yet. I mean, Cham just continues to push his opponent back, minimizes the damage he's taken, and if he survives this attack now, then I think Cham's in a fantastic position. You're going to see a few units out of position to begin with. They're all the way to the right-hand side, so the tank's getting good shots off to begin. 7 forwards here, we see uThermal picking off the Infestors. A couple of fungal growths did go down. The reality of the matter is, there's still just so much Zerg, and this tank goes down as well, unable to be lifted before he falls. I mean, backing away now, a few more medevacs coming over to the left side, a few marauders and a marine inside of one of the medevacs. I mean, really, just so I don't even know. I mean, there's just so much Zerg. Cham is in a fantastic position. He's actually got some links continuing to move around. Kind of his Platinum's finishing soon, and the Ultras are out. And this really is the situation now where, well, uThermal's in trouble. Now, the one good thing for uThermal is he can just sit on free bases for a long time because, well, he doesn't want to sit on free bases for a long time, but he can. So he can sit on free bases and just defend, because it's going to be very hard for Cham to attack into those locations. But at some point, he's going to have to sort of think about a fourth base as well. That's something he has to think about at some point, as we're going to be seeing the couple of medevacs coming up the top side, and just going to be trying to drop as Cham. The thing for Cham is he doesn't really need to attack, right? He just builds into a Spire, goes into his real late game setup, maybe a couple of Vipers, the Corruptor Ultra, and just keep on expanding himself, deny the drops from doing too much damage, and then he's fine. And also just make sure his opponent doesn't get a fourth base up. That's one of the important things as well. If he lets uThermal get a fourth base up safely, well, that's when things become a little bit more sort of uThermal favored again, and maybe uThermal has got away in this game. But without a fourth base, eventually Cham just outminds his opponent drastically, and that's a pretty big feature of this. Still some Bio Forces just finding a few Ravagers to pick off right here. Actually, in the last few moments, we've seen uThermal trading much better with the drops than we've seen him trading all game long. 3 Ravagers go down. I mean, that's 300 gas. This Queen will fall. Over to this side, he picked off the third base previously, and he's going to unload again, maybe get a little bit more damage done. He's going to cancel the hatchery once more, and just lift up, back away. Good trades. uThermal really is buying himself the time to set up against the Ultralisk, which he has now seen coming. As we'll see him just trading around the map still. A couple of tanks around, and Liberator can't really grow in here as well. Fourth base has landed for him. He's cleaned out these rocks, so he has access down this way. I like it. He doesn't take the forward base because he knows he has to be the more defensive player. So he takes a base here where, you know, if you think about Cham attacking in from this right-hand side, you attack in this direction, all of a sudden, boom, Liberator siege up a choke point. Attack in here, choke point, attack in here, choke point. Compared to this base here, which has a lot of open space the Zerg can commit into, and get a concave on by coming down a couple of different ramps and just having space to spread out before the fight happens. uThermal actually now going to attack up the right-hand side from his fourth base and go in towards the gold. He takes that down quickly. The Liberators will help to pick off an Ultras as well. The Corrosive Bowels do pick off 1 or 2 of those Liberators as well. Here in the earlier stages, we're going to see, ooh, uThermal has to be cautious. Doesn't really want to... I mean, I guess he can kite and kite and kite. He is off creep. He's actually kiting quite nicely right now, so... Just going to back away. A little bit of a drop down here. This is going to force Cham to make a response. He's going to have to pull some units away. He's actually going to retreat with his army. Or is he? He's going to send some units forward still. The base goes down already. uThermal are really playing this so well in the last few moments. He's going to have to lift up these 3 Marauders and Marines, but... I mean... Yeah, I mean, he wants to keep as much alive as possible, especially losing his 4th base. That's not great for him. Liberator sieging up here. Corrosive Bowels will try and drop on top. There's only 1 or 2, though. The rest of the Ravagers a little bit late to the party. Bio Forces still making their way through the Ultras. 1 or 2 of them going down. So many STVs have fallen, but uThermal is holding his army strong. And he still has the double drops. Oh, actually, the double drops cleaned up. But, I mean, he's kept Cham on free bases. We're talking about Cham keeping uThermal on free bases. Well, actually, that's exactly what uThermal is doing to Cham. So both players playing on free bases, but uThermal has played less efficiently. So it's so important for uThermal to take that 4th base at some point here in the near future. So important for him. Has to try and find a way to make that happen. And we've seen a few units just setting up to the south side. These Ultras starting to work their way through the rocks. Ravagers as well. A couple of Infestors just around the place too. And as we'll be seeing these units just looking to see what else is going on. A few Corrosive Bowels going up, and we are going to see that medevac getting taken down. A couple of Marines here from uThermal just simming forwards and picking off a creep tumor or so. 3 Ultras, Ravagers. Continue to see what else is happening here at this point. I'm going to see a couple Marines going to start working their way through this hatchery on the 4th base, so I'm going to start making their way through that, and still a little bit more damage. Still these units moving through the center of the map, and you're going to see some mules getting dropped down towards the 4th base as well. A few Marauders will lead the charge here as they stim on in. And we've seen these units just thinking about how they want to do things. uThermal's army still competitive, but his economy is really hurting. However, I mean, you talk about economy, it's still actually really good dropping those mules down, especially. And I guess because Cham hasn't had much of a chance to mine from these bases, he's very oversaturated with the drone lead he has. So it is still fairly kind of potential for uThermal to make this happen, even though the start of the game wasn't really the best for him by a long stretch. Thank you very much, Bonkers1, by the way, for subscribing. Do appreciate it. Again, we don't usually shout out subs during the game, especially this late on, but the Twitch Prime subs aren't working on dashboards, etc. right now. They're not working on like Twitch alerts, so I'm just saying it now before I forget afterwards, and I would hate to forget to shout out a sub. So thank you very much, Bonkers1. Do appreciate it. Let's see some love in the chat, guys. As we did find quite a nice little calm moment or two in the game to shout that out. As we'll see once again, though, Cham collecting together on the right-hand side. Liberator moving forward, seeing what's up. Widow Mines are going to give some really good damage here on the Ultras initially, actually. As we're going to see so many Liberators. I mean, here we come with the Corruptors, but man, the Liberators have already done a lot. Widow Mines as well. Actually, the Ultras are just going to go down. Without the Ultras, the Bio Army alone is enough to kind of push through here, although actually there's not enough Marines to fight the Corruptors. So Liberator's going to unsiege and have to back away. Ooh, I mean, uThermal just needs a few more units out. Where's he got units? He's got units across the map, and Ultra will clean these few units up, though. This base is going to go down. That's problematic. uThermal keeps on losing orbitals. In fact, he's only got 2 bases left, and one of them is flying to the bottom right-hand side. There's the rest of the reinforcing bio. That's what we're waiting for. Getting that bio up to push across with. uThermal really hurting in terms of economy. And yeah, I mean, uThermal, what's happened here is, again, Cham had such a really great sort of Cham had a really great early game. And then uThermal really crafted some really good moves to make himself confident and really look as though he's going to be able to set up and fight the late game. But the fact Cham is still denying this 4th base and keeping uThermal away from extra bases and now finally establishing the extra bases of his own, it's going to put him in a better position. The armies are still very similar, so one good fight could go one fight can go any which way, and that could change a lot. As uThermal's drops are continuing to pull Cham apart. And we've seen this hatchery is starting to go down, and it's going to be seeing these. This base is going to be falling here in a moment or two, and oh, it actually goes down. The Ultra is enough there. uThermal not lifting. Going to stim to the right-hand side as well, trying to catch Cham out of position. Cham knows that this is going to happen already, I think. He's already moving units to get in position. However, Ultra taking some damage. The Bioforces can kite for now. It's the Corruptors that make it difficult, though, because they'll pick away at the Medivacs, and that's something which uThermal really cannot afford to lose at this point of time as he continues to step backwards. Corruptors starting to chase those couple Medivacs down. Now the Bioforces on their own again, but they pick off an Ultra to begin with. Banes are closing the gap, though. uThermal has to keep getting rid of those. Liberator will go down. Actually, the Corruptors going to fly into Widow Mines. Widow Mines getting some good kills. Another Widow Mine picking away at an Ultra or two, but I just don't think there's enough. And this is just the extra economy of Cham finally kicking in. Finally, that economy has brought him into a bit of an extra army supply lead, and he's just got enough now to really push through and finally close this out. Great game number 2 between the players, though. Very back and forth. Maybe Cham in favor kind of throughout, but uThermal definitely making moves, making things happen to create opportunities for himself to just be in a very strong and solid position as time went by. And we've seen these few units stimming up here. He's still going to try and stay in with the drops, but realistically, the army's going to be too much, and he knows it as well. GG's out, and Cham is going to take game number 2. Let's see how this is going to go. We have to the top left-hand side our blue Terran player. From Team Liquid, it's going to be uThermal. And to the bottom right-hand side, our red Zerg from OSC Root. Let's see it if you're cheering on Cham. Tying the series up. He took down Puck in the round of 8, by the way. Nice, solid performance from him to claim again that $40 bounty on Puck's head in OSC tournaments. Pretty nice. So even if Cham falls out here, he'll actually have taken home $40, and I think that's actually probably more than second place would take home in this tournament. I think it's 75-25 split, so 125. Well, it'd be what, $25 plus Yeah, to be fair, he does. So yeah, Cham's already won more than second place will in this cup. If he does get knocked out now, so it's still been a fairly decent day for him. Of course, if he goes to this finals, he'll get some more money in the bank for himself here. As we'll be starting on up into this game and just waiting to see how exactly things will develop on King Sejong Station. The Reaper expansion from uThermal in the very early stages going up against the Hatchery Gas Pool from our Zerg player. So, very standard openings. We'll see what it develops into. And already from uThermal, we're actually seeing the choice of a second barracks. So going back to what he did in game number 1. I mean, that build in game number 1 worked so well for him. Efficient trades, effective trades. Compared to game 2, where the drop player really wasn't successful. He threw drop after drop after drop at Cham after the 2 racks Reaper opening. And Cham just deflected and killed off medevacs and killed off units. And I mean, it was the complete opposite of what we've seen from uThermal all day long. Every day in the TvZ, we've seen him being the efficient player, the player who's been taking better trades, who's been taking better fights. And now all of a sudden, he's the player who's losing so much. He's taking so much damage, and he lost a lot of drops without dealing any damage himself. So there's a real kind of switch from what we saw, and he still made, again, from being at a disadvantage, he still made a lot of good moves to try and keep himself in the game. Really good movement to be able to harass bases, shut Cham down to 3 bases himself, while uThermal struggled to get a 4th because of his opponent's army. So while he didn't have a straight up army, then yeah, it's sorry. So kind of get to kind of like be able to kind of he couldn't take his own 4th base because of the straight up army of his opponent. And his opponent couldn't take a 4th base because of the small harassment from his opponent. So it was a real sort of back and forth, sort of crazy. Anything could have happened game. Anything could have happened. I mean, in the end, Cham did win out from the advantage, but it really was because he denied the extra base from uThermal again, while he did eventually get his own up. So eventually the drop base play just withered out, and he did go the way of Cham, sorry, not uThermal. We've seen the starport is just going to be building here. Just going to be seeing that starport about halfway done already. Just going to see the reactor is just past halfway done as well. So Marine's going to be joining together on the ramp right now between the main and the natural, as we see the 3rd hatchery coming up to being about halfway done. So it's coming up to being about halfway done right now, and I mean, it's still very standard stuff from both players. The double evolution chamber, the Ling Queen to defend here in the early stages out of Cham as well. Looked to be a kind of a Ling based composition rather than a Roach-based composition, I suppose. You can see Emil just dropping down here, and uThermal will continue to mine away. A couple of medevacs going to be popping out in the very near future. They're about halfway done, so going to be moving across the map shortly and continuing to attack. So his medevac's about to pop. As the Marine's going to be jumping into those medevacs and getting ready to go. So here we go. uThermal going to come down to the lower right-hand side. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, Cham last time, he really allowed himself to lose the Zerglings and allow uThermal to get into very good positions. And that's something he's really going to have to deny from happening this time around. So keeping the Lings and the Queens closer together, make sure that the Lings are always fighting with the Queens. That's going to be very, very, very important here. So we're going to see these Marines continuing to unload. And they're going to get ready to stim on forward. So here we go. Ling's already starting to run in. Nice, though. Again, uThermal's sort of pulling away in a direction that the Queens can't follow. One medevac goes down, though, and that's nice. Getting rid of a lot of the healing here. But a little bit of creep still cleaned out. For now, fairly even trade on both sides. And the Zergling's just going to be pulling back. So Ling's pulling back a little bit. At this point, Cham will feel safe to drone as we see both players with the double upgrades on the way. And, well, uThermal with a couple more medevacs will reinforce this first drop very shortly, I think. Probably try and attack again. He might go into 2 different directions. He might just go in one complete direction. Again, just try and take a straight up great trade. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to see those Marines still just gathering up in that main. Armory is on the way on the natural expansion out of uThermal. As we see the units just still gathered in the center. Cham just melee upgrades. No sign of a Roach Roaring, if I'm not mistaken. So just a Baneling Nest, and just needs a lair really to be able to get into Baneling Speed 2-2 upgrades, unless he's just planning on making a big Ling Bane attack here off of the 1-1, which is a possibility. He is going to start the lair now. Fairly late. I mean, he's going to have 2-2 delayed for a long time, whereas uThermals will come up pretty swiftly after the 1-1 finishes. And the lack of Bane speed obviously hurts as well, and he is just going to be stuck on lane Bane for a long time too. No sign of Aspire or anything like that. As we're just going to be seeing Marines stimming forwards, and a few creep tumors already going down. Those Banes, they're slow, but uThermal not going to commit just yet. And to be fair, that's fine. Again, he's in a position now where he's able to just clean up some creep at the front, and then just going to be pulling back the Marines. You know, after he's denied the creep, that's, you know, enough for him at this point. He's content that that is enough of an advantage that he's creating for himself. He's actually just going to change the direction of this drop and maybe try and drop elsewhere, see if he can drop in different locations and find a way to get further damage done. Link's still coming up the right-hand side, and maybe having a look to see where they can get into in the near future. Going to see those few medevacs going to be dropping off in a moment or so, and nope, apparently not. Okay, they're going to keep coming down the right-hand side and going towards the main base, I suppose. As we do see Cham getting aggressive, though. I mean, we talked about the late lair and the potential for a Ling Bane attack, and there it is. The Ling Bane attack going to start coming across, and uThermal has a lot of units out of position. It's interesting because the thing is, uThermal's got a lot of units out of position, but they're doing damage. It's not like they're just out there doing nothing at all. They really are making progress. They're getting stuff done. So uThermal is going to repair up this initially. Pulls away. He's going to try and make a secondary wall. Oh, love that. The depot here actually creates a second wall. He targets down the rest of the Banes. It's only Lings left over. He'll join the Marines together. And on the ramp, there's just such a good choke point. And Cham at home, he's lost 27 drones of his own. uThermal's still fighting over here and will continue to trade well as these last few Lings go down. 10 workers lost. What a hold by uThermal. That depot was so well placed. That was such a cute little play. He realized that he wasn't going to be able to hold the first depot.